Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And let's go down the Disney rabbit hole.
Yeah, I saw this a few days ago, and I didn't get a chance to cover it.
A lot of people were covering it. I actually looked up going into debt for Disney, and that's what this video is about, is going into debt for Disney. Almost 20% of people who go to Disney basically throw it on credit cards.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised the number's not higher. I'm going to be honest with you.
I am very surprised as well, because especially with the cost of Disney anymore, I mean, I know for a while they were doing that thing that you can actually, it's almost like a crowdfunding. You can actually save for your Disney
like
vacation.
Like a layaway?
Yeah, it was like layaway on the Disney website. I don't know if they do it anymore or not, but they had like Scrooge McDuck on it.
They had some other plans, and they closed them down. But yeah, no, to be fair, this Lending Tree survey only was about 1,500 people. I would be willing to bet that percentage is much, much higher.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing about this is that, Disney's prices keep skyrocketing, but for a lot of people, it's just like throw it on the card, we'll pay it off eventually. It used to be that people would save for years before they would go.
I think you can pay a deposit down and then pay so much a month to do that too. I think you can still do that now. But, a lot of people are just putting on their cards. When you get there, you're going to probably put stuff on your cards.
Yeah, and there's no way to get off cheap going to Disney. I mean, and they make it easy to book a trip. Like you can book a trip for $200, just put down $200 and then you got to cough up the other $8,000,
Yeah.
But let's talk about this, because this is, this just shows how badly people want these Disney vacations. But I'm like, are we going to hit a ceiling, especially with the recession, especially with a lot of lenders cutting credit limits and everything else, that is actually going to affect Disney. Not just people not having disposable income, but also not having access to credit.
Right.
We'll see.
Because, when credit card people get antsy, they cut limits.
Yeah.
Or cut cards.
They cut cards and they'll cut carbs if they don't go to Disney, so they won't be fat, so Christine McCarthy can't make fun of them.
Good.
Anyway, let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 281,000 subs.
Woohoo!
Check out piratesandprincesses.net, and we are looking for a way to bring back our podcasts.
We will be bringing back podcasts.
Talked about this before, and we needed a right way to do it, but I think we're going to do it.
Yeah, long story short, we started out as a podcast. Pirates and Princesses was a podcast.
All of this started as a podcast.
Actually, all started as a webcomic, and then it went to a podcast about Disney, and from there we ended up on the other blog, and then to the blog we did here, and then to YouTube and all that. So it all came from the PNP podcast. So we're going to be bringing that back, as well as other podcasts that I think we're bringing. Yeah, we're
looking at some solutions here to have some content outside of YouTube. But we did talk about this. We would talk about this kind of stuff in depth, like we do an entire episode talking about financing Disney and all that. I think we did one before.
I've done articles
saving money on Disney, and we've talked about that. So this is it's surprising, like you said, that it's so low. But Lending Tree, they're probably like, hey, you want to take out a loan to go to Disney? Down the rabbit hole, 18% of Disney goers have racked up debt, but most have no regrets. This sounds like something Disney would say. Like, it's worth every penny and all the pennies and interest you have to pay.
Again, it's only 1,500 people that have responded to this. So it's not like a big sampling either. I mean, we're going to be fair. I honestly think that number's higher.
Yeah, so here are the key findings. Disney is a major draw for amusement park goers. Of the 87% of Americans who've been to a theme park or amusement park, 74 have visited Disney. From November 2022 through October 2023, a one-day, one-park ticket price for Walt Disney World visitors 10 and older averages $141.
I think that might even be up higher. I mean, now that they're raising prices. Well, that's one day. Yeah, one day tickets just raised them.
I remember when people lost their shiznit when it topped $100 on average. Because when we first started going, ticket prices were under $100, and that was even high. I was like, man, they're like $85 now. What's up with that?
Back in the day, you didn't have to pay to have your tickets that you could use it whenever. If you didn't use your days, you could use it whenever. You didn't have to pay for park hopping. You got park hopping automatically. I mean, there's a lot of things that have changed.
When I went to Disneyland when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I think I said this before, I remember the tickets costing between $20 and $25, and that was back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Even then, with inflation, that would be nowhere near the price of today.
Nope. The magic might hurt some wallets. 71% of Disney attendees who went into debt say they don't regret it. In fact, 4 and 5, 80% say they'll pay off their debt in 6 or fewer months.
Well, that must be nice.
That must be nice. These trips are not cheap. Like Disney is not cheap. Even if you're an annual pass holder, it's not cheap. And we used to be able to do trips to Disney where we'd drive down, we would eat in the hotel rooms, we'd take our food or whatever, stop at Walmart and buy groceries, and we could do a trip for about $2,000 to $3,000. That was a long time ago, and you're not going to get off that cheap anymore.
I thought it was interesting. They said those who went into debt stay in park food and beverages, which I was saying, and admission costs were significantly more expensive than they originally thought or budgeted for.
That's by design.
And again, I think this is written before they raised the prices, because they're saying the most expensive and the cheapest, but I know that Magic Kingdom's prices were up to $189 on some days. So it was up there. It might not be that exactly, but it was up high.
I'm going to be honest. I mean, you get to the parks and it always is more expensive than you think it's going to be, especially with all the upcharges now with the Lightning Lane and all this other jazz. The food prices are always higher than you think they're going to be. The merchandise prices are always higher than you think they're going to be. You're not going to get off cheap going to do. There's just no way.
That just gets you in the door.
It gets you in the door.
It gives you the right to go in and spend more money.
Pretty much. That's basically what you're doing. You're basically spending money to get in the door.
To spend more money.
For the opportunity to spend more money.
You want to ride a ride? You want to ride? Actually get on the ride? You need to spend more money. You want to eat? You spend more money.
Yeah, so look at this. This is throughout the next year. September has the cheapest average price at $126 a day. December, it's most expensive at $140.
That's higher. This is written before they upped the price of the one days.
Those are park tickets. I'm going to tell you the truth. The park tickets are probably the cheapest thing you're going to pay for at Disney. The hotels are crazy expensive. The merchandise is crazy expensive. The food is insane. I mean, you're talking $20 hamburgers.
Yeah, when you think like, oh, wow, I got a $6 cupcake. What a bargain.
Wow.
You know?
Meanwhile, you can go to the local grocery store and get multiple cupcakes for $6. But in Disney, it seems like a really good deal. Like, it's only $5 for a Coke. Only $5.
It's like $4.70 or something. I forget. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah.
So baby boomers, 57 to 76 are the most likely generation to have been to a Disney park. Yeah, because when they started going, it was affordable.
Yes, when I was a kid, my parents took us often.
Of the 88% of baby boomers who have been to a theme park, 83% have been to a Disney park. Comparatively, Gen Z, ages 18 to 25, are the least likely. Of the 83% who've been to a theme park, just 69% have been to a Disney park. Our kids have been to Disney parks.
They could be tour guides.
They could be tour guides, but we started going when it was still quasi-affordable.
And then we started a blog and got ourselves paid to go.
Then we started okay, so let me speaking
it's a true story. That's why we did it.
Speaking of pirates and princesses, let me tell you a little story of how this kind of happened. We were like, oh, we're going to Disney. Oh, we're spending too much money going to Disney. We would like to go to Disney more often, but living in the Pittsburgh area, we don't get down there as much as we'd like, and we need to offset those costs. So what do you do to offset the costs? Well, you start a podcast and a website so you can justify the expenses and make a little money in advertising, which you can roll back into trips, and then you can write those trips off because you're using it to cover stuff.
And then you get media access, and then they pay for some of your trips.
And then you get media access. So basically, we started the original podcast, since we're talking about the podcast, and the Pirates and Princesses website back in the day as a way to finance Disney trips, because God knows we needed to have that hit because we were Disney addicts. Not really the case anymore. But that's kind of how
that's not the bad thing. When you start going down there all the time, and especially when you get behind the scenes, the Disney addiction wears off real fast. When you see what actually goes down, how it actually works.
We had friends that moved down there, and they're like, "I'm going to move to Florida," kind of like, and I'm going to be a Disney blogger, and I'm going to go down, and and then they get down there, they're like, "Oh, damn, this isn't what I expected." At all. I know I was listening to one podcast. I can't remember the name of the podcast, but I used to listen to it years ago. And these guys, it's like 4 guys, and they all moved to Orlando to chase the Disney dream. And they got down there like, man, Orlando outside of Disney kind of sucks. Like, it's not the best place to live. There's a lot of issues here. And they regretted it. They're like, it's way expensive, compared to what we thought it was going to be. And, you see these YouTubers and the bloggers and the whatever.
Oh, they're the ones running around with the camera making a big deal about it.
Yeah, and it's a whole subculture, and it's like it works for some people.
They'll come in with hats with their logo they hand drew on there.
Oh my God.
Or whatever. They had it printed up just for them to wear their logo around the parks, like so you can notice them. How many lines were we in for I know we were there for the Animal Kingdom anniversary, and there was all these people wearing the hats and making a big deal. Oh, I'm a so-and-so.
Yeah,
I'm just they're like, yeah, okay.
It was so weird. weird because we didn't put on any pretense or whatever.
No, we
down
weren't
there.
like that.
And we were actually getting more views and more money probably than a lot of the people that were doing this. But it wasn't like we put on a big show about, look at us, you can come down and kiss our ass when we're in Florida. Yeah, it's just, it's a weird thing. But anyway, long story short, that's kind of how we fell into doing the Disney blogger thing. And, we're going to bring the podcast back, but it's going to be a totally different angle, I think.
Well, back to the expense. The reason I think the numbers might not be higher on the percentages is because everybody, and it's a running joke, they get their tax refunds. And they'll say, you mean Disney trip money?
Yes.
And they'll literally say this on the boards. You see it on the boards all the time. They're like, it's a running joke. Oh, it's income tax return time. I'm dumping my income tax return into my trip to Disney. Or my third trip to Disney this year, or whatever. But if there's not a lot of people going into debt for it, it's because they're taking their money like their income tax return and buying their entire trip and paying for it up front.
Boy, it must be nice to get a tax refund every year. Golly gee, I don't remember what that's like anymore. But if it were me, I'd say, hey, take some of that and put it in stocks or savings or something. But no, let's go.
I mean, hey, we're guilty of that.
Yeah,
First trip we did. That's how we paid for it. Like,
that's true. That's true.
That wasn't so much later, but that's what we did the first time.
It's true. I mean, I can't really say anything, but I mean, I think at this point, like, I'm so jaded. I'm like, why in the hell, of all the things you could go into debt for, why the hell would you go into debt for a trip to Disney? But
well, Disney wants you to go into debt for a trip to Disney.
They want you, and they count on it.
And they keep raising the prices to make sure you do.
Yeah, actually, what they're hoping for, though, is they're hoping the whales show up, and the whales who have, like, no aversion to... I mean, look, if they're talking about people putting things on a credit card, everybody puts stuff on credit card and then they pay the card off. But they want people who are going to show up and be like, oh, yeah, we budgeted for an $8,000 trip, and we wound up spending $14,000.
Oh, we see it all the time.
Oh, well, whoopsie-doopsie, it's magic.
I didn't realize, I didn't budget. I saw one person saying, okay, can we have like a family of 4 eat 3 meals a day for like $20? And people were laughing like, you're going to get a popcorn bucket for like $20.
I think that throws people too. Like, if you've never been there, you don't understand. Like, even if you've been to like Vegas or something, like the food prices at Disney are astronomical.
Now, to be fair, the food usually is very big. Well, it was. It used to be that you get a lot for that amount of money. We used to split meals all the time because it was just too much food. You're in Florida, it's hot. You don't want to eat a whole lot. And but now the stuff keeps shrinking, so that might not be the case.
I'm waiting for Disney to be like, yeah, we're totally for climate change, because if we can make Florida cooler, people will eat more and they'll spend more money at Disney.
Honestly, I think if Disney could find a way to charge you for breathing Disney air, they would do it.
It's like the Lorax.
It is the Lorax. It would be Disney.
So here are the reasons people don't go to theme parks. It's too expensive.
Yeah, that's number one, like by a long shot.
This is Family Feud. Give me a reason people don't go to theme parks. Ding! Too expensive. Locations too far. Rather go other places.
Can't stand in lines.
Don't like roller coasters. I don't like roller coasters.
Hey, to be fair though about Disney, they can't stand in lines. If you legitimately have a medical reason you can get a pass for that. And what they'll do is they'll schedule you a time to come back. The same amount of time you'd wait in line. Don't like roller coasters. Well, there are roller coasters at Disney, but there's a lot of other attractions that are roller coasters.
I get sick of everything because I don't like roller coasters. I get sick of everything being coasters.
It's not though at Disney. Even a lot of new stuff they've been adding in.
Yeah, because I think it's honestly, is it cheaper to build? Is that what's going on? I don't know.
It's not enjoyable. You are correct. Don't think it's safe. Well, it depends. I mean, people are getting they're getting tagged, and their Apple phones alerted them that they had AirTags on them. And yeah. I have a plan, and you have to plan in advance. Yes, and even more so than you ever had to before. Don't have anyone to go with. Yeah, it sucks if you have to go by yourself. We've both done it.
Yeah.
It sucks. Don't like to travel. Don't like being outside. I don't like being outside either. I haven't gone yet, but I want to eventually, 14%.
Yeah, so here's the analysis of what a trip costs, I guess. They're like an analysis conducted by Mouse Hacking. Mouse Hacking, what is that? Mouse Hacking. Found the baseline Disney World vacation for a family of 4, including 2 adults, 1 child, costs $5,731 in 2022. Again, the same trip used to cost significantly less. Right. I remember when we were working on the other blog, back in 2017, we did a story on the average cost of a Disney trip for a family of 4, and it was about $4,000. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking $6,000, and that's up from, like we said, we could do it for $2,000 or $3,000 just 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
And this is about park hopping and other things.
Yeah, but that includes the flights. That's a big one. We used to drive down, so it was easier. Transportation to and from Disney World. Remember when that was free?
Yep.
Remember that was free? A 5-night stay at Pop Century. 5-day tickets without park hoppers, but with Genie Plus.
Well, Genie Plus is fluctuating in price now, so it depends when you go.
All meals at roughly the cost of the standard dining plan, which was suspended during the COVID-19 pandemic. And actually, the dining plan, I believe, was always a ripoff. I never thought it was a good deal.
So they're probably overestimating there. But
yeah.
The inflation on the rise, and Mickey's feeling it too. Mouse Hacking found that the baseline Disney World vacation for the same family of four cost $6,300 in 2023. Or $316 per person per night. That's a 10% increase just from 2022 to 2023.
Now, get this though. You can go to the Galactic Star Cruiser for 2 days and spend the same amount of money.
Less than 2 days.
Yeah, less than 2 days.
You're there for like 44 hours.
So, I mean, that just puts it in perspective. Like, if you're getting sticker shock from this for a 5-day vacation, staying at the Pop Century costing $6,000, just imagine paying that for less than 2 days to go to a Star Wars LARPing hotel. It's crazy. Disney attendees seem like they're saving up for their trips. Of those who've gone to Disney, only 18% say they went into debt. No, I don't believe that.
It's more.
Now, here's what's interesting. It said 6-figure earners are more likely to go into debt than any other income
That
group.
is surprising.
26% of those earning $100,000 a year or more have gone to debt for Disney. Disney goers earn between $35,000 and $49,000 are the least likely at 12%. I think the reason why the people who are making that kind of money probably honestly have more job security, and they're like, I know I can pay this off.
Well, that could be people that are getting 35 to 49 or to 50 are getting tax refunds.
Well, that could be too.
And they're just paying for it.
That could be too. By generation, millennials 26 to 41 are the most likely to have incurred Disney debt, and they're actually the audience that Disney is courting the fiercest with Instagram and all that stuff. 22% of Gen X, 19% of Gen Z, and 9% of baby boomers. So a quarter, 24% of men have gone into debt for Disney. Probably to make their families happy. I'm
going to
guessing.
say that. It's not a sexism thing. It's probably true. 10 percentage points higher than the 14% of women. But like again, it's usually a family. Not always, but it's usually a family thing, and that's probably why.
Now here's where I'm like, did Disney put them up to this? The money's worth the magic.
No, it's not.
I used to say that. I used to actually say, hey, it's worth spending the amount of money you're spending because of the memories you have. And we have some very good memories from Disney trips over the years, but it is not worth what they're charging now. They've even got to the point where I'm like, it's not worth it. I can't justify the expense, especially now. Take your kids someplace else, because really what makes it worth it at the end of the day is the time you have with your family, and you can do that so many other places.
And the Disney magic isn't there like it used to be.
No,
I'm sorry,
it's not.
but it's just really, truly not.
It's not us being jaded. It really, truly is not what it was even 10 years ago. It's the parks have changed. The attitude has changed. It's become more obvious that they've always been greedy. They're a corporation. They're known for being one of the greediest, but they're not even hiding it at this point.
Yeah, at this point, no.
So this is a lending tree. So yeah, they're probably like, hey guys, take out a loan. So here's what's the most expensive. In-park food and beverage, number one.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I think $20 for burgers. It depends where you go. Usually it averages about $14 for a meal. I think usually burger and fries somewhere in there, $14, $15.
Yeah, it depends. Tickets, lodging and accommodation. I would say the hotels are the most expensive thing.
They are pretty expensive.
You can stay out of park. There are lots of.
I don't know. I think tickets are more expensive than hotels because you're going per person. So
Hey, art of animation. I know over the summer we stayed there, and it was supposed to be a value, and that
bite my ass.
Yeah, it wound up being like freaking $600 or $700 a night. I about fell out of my freaking chair.
And it wasn't. You could have gone to a much nicer hotel.
Oh God, yeah. So it's all this stuff. It's starting to add up, and then they're taking stuff away. They're parking, they're taking away the transportation, so now you have to pay for that. So now you're talking $40, $50 round trip to get a Lyft or an Uber, It's ridiculous. And it is adding up. And I think it's conservative to say $6,000 for a trip. I think, honestly, anymore for a family of four to actually enjoy themselves.
And buy stuff.
$7,000 to $8,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane.
This is the price is whatever the cost is, whatever you're estimating your cost is, I'd add like a 20% cushion just to be sure. I mean, that sounds crazy because you're adding like, a couple $100 more, but I would recommend it.
And there it is at the very bottom. Get personal loan offers customized for you today. Take out a loan for Disney. I don't know. Are we gonna wrap this up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.